Now, not later. We are going to talk all about today how you need to have the meeting. You need to send the email. You need to open up the door of communication and hit head on the challenge that you are facing right now that is taking away your time, your energy, and possibly increasing your stress. We're going to get into why you need to have the meeting, but we're also going to talk about what it does for others. You can truly make a positive impact on the people around you by having the meeting. Let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about hitting challenges head on, and there's a couple reasons why this is so important and impactful. And that is because when you wait to address a challenge, you are simply losing time, energy, sleep. You may be increasing stress, and you may be increasing tension with another individual, which is exactly why today we're going to talk about how to address a problem head on in a respectful and efficient way so that you can open the doors of communication and move forward. As a culture coach, so often I hear people say, well, I should probably talk to that person about that, but I don't know. It's really not that bad yet. And absolutely, if you are in a leadership position and someone is doing a certain behavior that you do not want them doing, there's a chance that they could stop doing that behavior on their own. The likelihood of them doing that in the time frame that you want them to stop doing this behavior is slim to none, which is why we are going to have the conversation. Now, I keep saying, have the meeting. And just what I mean by that is open up a conversation about the challenge and potential solutions. This may come in the form of an email. This may come in the form of a face-to-face conversation at work. This may come in a team meeting setting. Whatever it is, I need you to take the action to open the door to problem solving. Now, I've already talked about the reasons why you need to do this. Let's talk about the reasons why it helps others. When we open up the door of communication, we are also opening up the door to learn more about a situation. And with more information allows us to be more confident in the actions we are going to take. If you watch someone do something that you disagree with, but you don't know why they're doing it the way they're doing it, then you are making a judgment call based on your own perspective. And so having the conversation about why are you doing it this way, or can you tell me more about what your reasoning is around this action, we are going to be able to get really clear on the situation. Just last week, I had a situation where I was driving my kids to school, road was open, all was good, and literally at 7:30, our school opens at 8. Between 7:30 and 8, a construction company came into the road that accesses the school, one of two roads, and blocked it off. And I thought, oh, no. I was fine. My kids have been dropped off, but I witnessed the angry, frustrated faces as cars approached this road and realized they were not going to be able to come through. Now, here's the thing. That construction company is doing its job, and they were doing it so well. It was literally 7:30 on the nose, and they were up, setting up. They were ready to go, put the road closed signs, and they were working. They were so efficient. So if you are looking at the perspective of the foreman, these guys are doing exactly what they need to do, and they are doing it effectively and efficiently, and they are being productive. But if you are looking at it from the frustrated parent side, you're like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Why would you set up a roadblock 30 minutes before school starts? This is when thousands of parents are driving their kids to school. What were you possibly thinking? Do you see how those are two totally different perspectives? And how often is this happening with us at work? We see somebody walking in the door consistently 5 minutes late, and we assume they are lazy. They cannot get to work on time. We assume all the things, right? But maybe we have the meeting, we have the conversation, and we find out that they cannot drop off their child at daycare until 5 minutes before they need to be at work. And so, in order to respect the daycare person's timeline, they choose to be 5 minutes late to work. Now, I'm not saying this is okay, but what I am saying is learning that information helps you as the leader to move forward. Now, I am doing some leadership coaching right now, and one of my clients talked about how he wants to address the team on cell phone usage. And he says to me, but it's not always a big deal. It's just sometimes I notice it more than other times. And my advice to him was, call it out. Have the meeting. Whether you do it this week at your production meeting, or you talk to the individuals who are pulling their cell phones out all day, one-on-one. I do not want you to regret waiting 1 month until the next production meeting to address cell phones. Because what's going to happen in the next month is you are going to notice it more and more and more, and it is going to frustrate you more and more and more. It is going to take time away from you, and it is going to take energy away from you. So instead, have the meeting. And right away he said, you know what? I've actually been bothered by this for 4 months. For 4 months, this leader, this shop foreman has been walking around frustrated at cell phone usage instead of opening up the door for conversation, listening to understand, or even opening up the conversation that cell phones should not be out at work. Now, I want to give you another thing that this individual is going to do that I think could really help you as well. So not just walk away from this podcast knowing you need to go have the meeting, but also think about how you can have the discussion about the solution in a way that is concrete, that provides examples, so that the people you are speaking with not only hear your message, but can see themselves in your message. Here's my example. When we were talking about cell phone use, I said, why can't they be on their cell phones? And he's like, well, a lot of times they're either sitting on fantasy football, they're on social media, or they're texting with a spouse and or a family member. And I said, okay, when should they be on their phones? And he's like, well, absolutely. If your family has an emergency, if my significant other, for example, needed to let me know that my child was sick, he's like, absolutely pick up your phone and answer that call or call into school or do what you need to do. And he's like, but that is the only time you should be on your phone during work hours. And I said, dynamite. That is how we are going to pitch the conversation. We are going to say that I notice that when you are getting done with your work, instead of finding more work and or coming to see what help is needed with the team, I notice we're getting on to our cell phones. And here is when I expect you using your cell phones. When there is an emergency with your family. For example, if someone got sick at school and the school called you, absolutely be on your cell phone. If your spouse needs something from you, absolutely be on your cell phone. But we are not going to be on our cell phones to be on fantasy football, social media, or checking other apps. During work time, the expectation is to work. Now, the reason I share this is that when people can hear examples, they can resonate with that. On the flip side, this gentleman could walk around the shop saying, "Oh, off your phones, please. Hey, remember, we're not going to be on phones today." That, as much as that is clear and is asking a very specific thing of them, in the moment, it is reactive. Where when you are in the meeting, right? Because we're going to have the meeting. When we are in the meeting and we bring up situations that we know they have been in, now they can see themselves in that situation and you can ask them to act differently. You can ask them to change their behavior because they're not in the middle of it right now. So what conversation do you need to have? I want you to think about who in your life is there a challenge with that you just need to open the door of communication. You simply need to say, "Hey, I've noticed this thing. Can we talk about that?" Or, "Hey, I've noticed this is what goes on when I get home at night. And what really needs to happen is this over here," and give examples. So I want you to think about that. What email do you need to send to gain clarity over a situation? What do you need to say at your next team meeting? What conversation do you need to have with your spouse tonight after the kids go to bed? What conversation do you need to have with your significant other on date night this week? Have the meeting. I do not want this topic or this challenge sitting with you for any longer. Here's what happens when we have the meeting. The conversation is open. The information is out there. We can seek to learn more, but we can also share our own perspective. And then we can take action moving forward to change the problem. Let's talk about a couple outcomes. What if it works? What if today you open up a conversation, you learn the other person's perspective, and there is a way for you to eliminate this challenge? That's going to free up your time, your energy, and decrease your stress. What if it works? You bring it up to your entire team, you learn a little bit more information, you find out that you're on different pages about what is supposed to be happening. You are able to set the expectation, get buy-in because you were able to listen to everyone's perspective, and you are able to set your team up for success moving forward. And now, what if it doesn't work? Let's go there. What if it doesn't work? You bring it up, the other person dumps their perspective on you in your face, shutting down the initial conversation. That could happen to a few of you. And let me tell you this. We are going to take that information. We are going to take their reaction. We are going to pause and reflect. We're going to think about why it went down in that way. We are going to ask more questions and gain more clarity so that we can create a solution that helps both perspectives. And then, what if that works? Right? What if it is the start of the conversation, not necessarily the end of the conversation, but you are able to get started with the conversation. You are able to open the door and begin communicating about a tough subject in hopes and on a mission to create a solution where everyone wins. And no, not all the time is everyone going to win, but I truly believe there is a way for you to lead with confidence, set your team up to win, and then watch as they work together with you to solve that problem. You got this. Have the meeting. Open the door. Send the email. Begin communicating so that you can truly tackle this challenge and move forward and watch your trajectory exponentially increase. I want to know what conversation you had after this episode, after you have the meeting. I would absolutely love it if you sent me an email, impact@annvote.com, or a message over on Instagram at AnnVote, that's ANNVOTE. What was your topic and how did it go? And if it didn't go well, that's okay. It gave you practice and confidence addressing a challenge head on. And the more you do that, the better you will get, the more solutions you will have, and the less challenges you will be running into. Go out there and create change. Enjoy the meeting.